You know, I like predatory capitalists just as much as the next guy. Jeff Bezos is my favorite. He's the richest guy in the world, and he owns the Washington Post. He's in bed with the CIA to the tune of $600 billion, and he sits on the Pentagon board, and he hollows out local communities through Amazon using non-union, overworked, underpaid workers. Isn't that great? Jeff Bezos, the kind of guy who'd rather put an ambulance outside of a fulfillment center instead of air conditioning the fulfillment center. He'd rather rush the people who pass out to the emergency room. That's who Amazon.com is. That's who Jeff Bezos is. Not a nice person.
He's kind of like the Beatles of predatory capitalism.
Yes. Very, very well put. He's like the Beatles. Yes, he is. And now here comes an investigative story from the Mirror in the UK. Amazon drivers forced to deliver 200 parcels a day with no time for toilet breaks while earning less than the minimum wage. Isn't that a great way to build an economy, right? Oh, I love it.
Well, you can get adult diapers for really cheap on Amazon.
That's the irony, right? But then somebody has to deliver it while pissing themselves. Isn't that ironic?
Yeah.
Drivers are being asked to deliver up to 200 parcels a day for Amazon while earning less than the minimum wage, a Sunday Mirror investigation reveals today. Many routinely exceed the legal maximum shift of 11 hours and finish their days dead on their feet. This is Amazon. This is in UK. Yet they have so little time for food or toilet stops, they snatch hurried meals on the run and urinate into plastic bottles they keep in their vans. One worker told us Amazon sent an email to all managers to try to stop drivers carrying bottles filled with urine. The security guards were reporting people for it.
Wow.
Imagine if you're one of those security guards. You decided to narc on your buddy because he's so overworked he had to piss in his own truck, and you're going to narc on him? And how about Jeff Bezos? This is a great way. He's a great capitalist. People love this guy. People love Jeff Bezos like he's not a piece of it. He is a piece of it. This guy's horrible for the economy. He's horrible for a country, for culture. He's horrible for workers. He's horrible for news. He's horrible for everything. If you want to know what the CIA's view of a story is, read the Washington Post. And this is what they're doing. It gets worse. They say they often break speed limits to meet targets that take no account of delays such as ice, traffic jams, or road closures. Employment law specialist Nigel McKay has laid out a raft of employment complaints and claimed the workers are mislabeled as self-employed so bosses can deny them rights. So instead of treating them like employees, they do the thing. FedEx does that in the United States. So UPS, actually, their drivers are all employees and they're union. They're Teamsters. FedEx treats all their drivers like private contractors. So they're not employees. They're contractors. So they're not covered by any employee rules or anything. And this sounds like what Amazon's doing in the UK. I'm sure they're doing it here too. And a leading union has called on Amazon's U.S. founder, Jeff Bezos, 53 years old, the world's richest man, who last year made 1.6 million pounds an hour. Think about how much money that is.
Yeah, I mean,
Isn't that that's over $2 million an hour, right?
Yeah, that's definitely over $2 million an hour because the pound is...
Yeah. The pound's worth twice as much as the dollar?
I don't know if it's a full... Yeah, it's definitely close if it's not a full... We're not math surgeons on this show. But.
Yeah, I'm not a math surgeon. An Amazon spokesman added, ready for this, as independent contractors of our delivery providers, drivers deliver at their own pace. Take breaks at their discretion, and are able to choose the suggested route or develop their own. And I bet they get to lay in a hammock while they're doing it too, right? According to Amazon, we give them tropical drinks, foot massages, and they lay in a hammock while they're delivering our packages. No one's overworked at Amazon. What would give you the idea that Amazon isn't good to their workers? Where would you get that idea? Ignore everything you hear on a daily basis and read in newspapers, see on television, and hear on podcasts and YouTube. Just ignore that because the guy at Amazon says they're allowed to make their own schedules.
Yeah, and this has been part of like the logistics work culture, and particularly in the United States. I mean, it's really sad to see this going on in other countries too. That's spreading like a virus. But yeah, you first of all you hide under the guise. Well, they're contractors, so they're not really beholden. They're not employees. They're contractors. And then they can make their own schedules. Yeah, what happens though is you hand them this route that they have to meet that is borderline physically impossible to meet, and then say, here. Make your own schedule.
You work it out.
Yeah.
You
take
work
as
many breaks as you want.
Yeah.
You just don't come back here unless you delivered all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to do this in 8 hours, and you have 759 minutes worth of deliveries to do with no breaks. But take your own breaks.
Take your own breaks. Here's a good go. The article goes on. Amazon provides the drivers with the route they must follow. This is according to the Mirror. This is what they say. Amazon provides the drivers with the route they must follow, and there are strict conditions on how they should deliver parcels. If the drivers return to the Amazon depot without having made enough attempts to deliver parcels, or if they can't work for any reason, they risk having their pay cut, being fined, or denied future shifts. Because of this, the drivers who get paid a flat daily rate can end up working extremely long days, often without breaks. The resulting hourly rate can be very low once you take into account expensive van rental agreements and the cost of fuel. How can Amazon get away with this? Well, it's because it uses subcontractors to employ these drivers, keeping them at arm's length. So,
bingo.
Amazon hires another company who then hires these guys. That's what they're saying. They hire a subcontractor who then hires these guys. And so they have a buffer. They have a buffer in between them and the horrible practices that they're doing.
Yeah, and it's a multi-layered buffer, too, because, heaven forbid they would actually have, like, a logistics department, bring these people in as employees, make them feel part of the company, and treat them right.
Right. God forbid.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, Jeff Bezos is worth over $100 billion. He could pay every one of his drivers probably $1 million, and he would still have about $90 billion.
Yeah.
This is it's just gross, the most gross greed the most conspicuous consumption in the world is happening right now. You thought the Gilded Age was bad. This is worse. We're actually living in worse times as far as income inequality and conspicuous consumption than the Gilded Age. And everyone's applauding it like this is how it's supposed to happen. This is what Jeff Bezos does. He hollows out local communities' tax base, because he gets sweetheart deal on the taxes. He doesn't have to put up brick and mortar. So all those people go out of business, and then he comes in and he opens his own business. He's opening up bookstores now after he put Borders out of business and all the other, and Barnes and Nobles and everybody else out of business. He's opening Amazon bookstores. Did you know that? So, again, he's worth over $100 billion, not million, billion. Which means he probably could pay each one of his drivers $1 million and still have about $90 billion. But he's not going to do that. On top of that, this is how it ends. On top of that, the companies they use treat their drivers as self-employed independent contractors, similar to how Uber treats its drivers. UK got rid of Uber. There's no Uber in England.
Oh, I didn't know. I did not know that.
Yeah, make sure I'm right about that, please. But I'm almost 100% sure. Uber drivers, which an employment tribunal has already held to be unlawful in another claim brought by the GMB. So I don't know how how could you be worth $100 billion and then know that your own drivers who are earning you that money have to pee in bottles and make less than minimum wage? Like, that's a psychopath. But that's what that's what capitalism rewards psychopaths. Wall Street also rewards psychopaths. They say on average, 1 in 100 people are psychopaths. Except for Wall Street, 10 out of 100 are psychopaths. Why is that? Because it rewards psychopathic behavior. Having absolutely no consideration for your fellow human beings. None. Everything's commodified. No one gets to have a decent life except the guy at the top. So was I right about that, Ron?
Yeah, well, it's not in London. And
London?
there's certain like UK cities are slowly banning it like one at a time. So
Okay.
it looks like it's not all of the UK yet, but
So
yeah,
London.
like London and
Okay.
then other cities are following suit now. So
Okay. So, half of all online purchases in the United States go through Amazon. So, and we have an Amazon link that we tell people if you're going to use. We don't encourage anybody to shop at Amazon, but if you're going to anyway, why not have some of that money go to this show, and then we can make videos telling everybody about how shitty Amazon is. And maybe we'll get a Teddy Roosevelt that comes along and breaks up these monopolies. But that's not. I don't know if that's going to happen. Doesn't look like it. Jeff Bezos is in bed with the CIA. You want to fuck with him? He's going to have the CIA fuck with you. That's not hyperbole. All right. CIA likes fucking with people. And Barack Obama made it possible for this, all the metadata that the NSA is collecting on everybody, every email, telephone call, and text you make, it gets collected. You know who's now allowed to go through all that? The CIA. That used to be illegal. CIA wasn't supposed to be able to spy on our own citizens. Barack Obama changed that and then handed that to Trump. And this is the guy who's in bed with the CIA, Jeff Bezos, Mr. 100 billionaire, who makes his money off of guys having to shit in bags and pee in bottles while they deliver your products.
he's got his hands in all goods and services. He's got his hand in food. He's got his hand in news and information.
Right.
This guy, if this guy controls the currency and water, he's going to be emperor of the world.
He's got his hand.
Next.
He's got his hand in the intelligence network community.
Yep.
He's got his hands in the newspaper. With the I mean, he's got the most important newspaper, right? That in the New York Times. So I don't know how much the French Revolution really did happen. It really did happen. And how much longer do you think guys like that they're going to take it from pieces of crap like Jeff Bezos, right?
I think once his face is on the $1 bill, people might be like, "Oh, we let this go too far."
This has gone too far. Don't. I mean, you guys see the problem with half of all online purchases going through Amazon.com, right? You see that that's a problem.
I don't see any conflicts of interest arising.
So the thing that people said they hate socialism and because you don't get any choice. You get what the government says. We want capitalism, so we get choice. That's why half of all purchases go through Amazon.com. Choice. We get choice. You can either use Amazon or not. That's your choice. So we need a revolution in this country. We really need. I just interviewed Nadia from Pussy Riot, and we're going to have that video coming up. We have to edit it. But there's lots of people willing to go to prison to change the system. And we need to do that in the United States. We need to have people in the street. And as soon as I figure out how to get people in the street, I will try. Because we need to, and then anyway, I don't want to mix stories because I'm getting very close to it. But, again, and then you're left in situations where you have to use Amazon.
I want to just say that a lot of people will say, well, he's a job creator. I would contend that
he's a job crusher.
He's a job crusher.
No, he's the exact opposite.
Exactly, and he's enslaving a modern culture.
Yes.
Through his awful practices.
So this is his predatory capitalism, or as some people call capitalism.
Well, let's talk about what's going on right now, and then I don't want to get too, but all the cities that are bidding right now to bring Amazon into their town, and people are talking about the economic benefits and this and that
for him.
And well, that's the thing. Like in the line, and if you talk to somebody that really is on the inside of those types of jobs, like because they're bringing higher level jobs, yes, but they're like, yeah, there's no way these cities are offering these crazy offers, and what they're going to get back as far as the people living and working there and what they contribute to the local economy, it's going to be like a drop in the bucket. Yeah, whatever city gets that will regret it in the long run, guaranteed.
But short term, politician could go, I got Amazon here. I got us new job.
Exactly. It's just window dressing. I mean that's really all it is. And My family's in Pittsburgh. They're all rooting for this thing, and I'm like, you guys are gonna regret it. You guys, it's not gonna help. They're like, we're gonna come back and buy a house. I'm like, no, it's not gonna, And my cousins,
unless they own an ambulance company, maybe if they own an ambulance
right?
company, they'll make a lot of money parking it outside the Amazon fulfillment center.
Well, the ironic thing is nobody was on my side except for my two cousins that are engineers that actually could get some of the jobs that they're bringing in.
Right.
They were the ones that were like, yeah, Ron's right. It's what these cities are offering and what they're going to get in return is like nothing. Like it's like, yeah, it's like, of course they're going to regret it.
And, I'm sure everybody over at MSNBC is screaming about it. No, they're not. No, they're not.
We just have to tell them Jeff Bezos is a Russian spy.
Maybe tell them,
then they'll talk about
Bezos met with a lawyer from Russia once 5 years ago, and then tell Rachel Maddow and she'll do a story on Jeff Bezos.
Was he at the same table as Putin at any point? Was there a photo?
Was there? I don't know. What I like is all those stories in the Washington Post about how shitty Jeff Bezos is. That's what I like. He doesn't control the Washington Post. That's why when you read the Washington Post, they tell you all this stuff, right? They don't tell you any of this stuff. The guy runs our economy, basically, and there ain't no stories about how shitty he is in the Washington Post. But he doesn't control the Washington Post. Their writers will tell you that's just go away, they tell you if you bring it up. Go away, their writers tell you that with their bad skin. Go away. That's what they say. So thanks for watching the show. Make sure you're still subscribed because they're unsubscribing people from our show, as you know. Check and make sure you are. And then click subscribe and click that bell next to it so you get a notice every time we drop a video. So thank you for subscribing. You could also become a premium member or a patron. You can do premium through PayPal, patron through Patreon. And we give lots of extra content every week. Thanks for your support.